Mine didn't turn on either. Oh, there we go.
Hey everybody, it's Poppy Dennison here. I am here today, very excited to be with several of our Dreamspinner Press authors. These are all authors from A Tale of the Curious Cookbook, and we're going to talk to them today about what it was like to write an anthology. I'm going to be very nosy and ask them some writing questions. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for you guys. Since we've got a lot to talk about, we are going to go ahead and get started, and we are going to let the authors introduce themselves so you guys can know who everyone is. We're going to start with Miss RJ.
Hi everybody, my name's RJ Scott. I'm the only Brit in the team. I'll get the things out of the way first and say the things you want me to say, like bloody hell and bugger and stuff like that, so that's out of the way. I started writing in fan fiction back in 2008, and I've been published since 2010. My first ever story was a Dreamspinner anthology story. I'm probably best known for Heart of Texas, Christmas Throwaway, Sanctuary, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Amy, let's go for you.
I'm Amy Lane. I've been publishing for about 10 years. I've been with Dreamspinner for about 6. My first stuff was urban fantasy, Little Goddess, which is being republished by Dreamspinner Publications and being re-released. My next release is Immortal, which is like a really dark, twisty, angry fairy tale. There you go.
She's not kidding.
I'm not kidding, not even a little bit.
Okay, and Marie, how about you?
I'm Marie Sexton, and I've also been published since 2010. With Promises was my first book with Dreamspinner, and probably my best-known one. That's it.
That's it?
Amber's really? All.
You know, draw it out a little more, Marie.
All right, Amber, how about you?
I'm Amber Kell. I've been writing for about 9 years now professionally. Cookies for Courting is actually my first Dreamspinner book. So I'm mostly known for my...
Yay! Happy.
I'm mostly known for my Moonpack series, my Trestle series, and my Dragonin series. Dragons!
And Mary, how about you?
Mary Calmay. I've been writing since also 2010. Everything's with Dreamspinner, and probably best known for A Matter of Time, Jory and Sam.
Absolutely. 2010 was a really good year, I'm thinking. I'm liking the way that is. So, okay, so the first thing I wanted to ask you guys, and I don't know who would be the best person to answer this. You guys will have to, somebody can jump in, but who was sort of the ringleader behind A Tale of the Curious Cookbook?
Marie and Amber did it.
Marie and Amber.
So,
Marie and Amber.
Amber. Okay, so who wants to tell me about how the A Tale of the Curious Cookbook came?
Marie does.
So we were at RT. At RT last year, Amber and I were drinking wine, shockingly, and having dinner with a friend of mine, and we just started talking about this idea of kind of like the Tales of the Traveling Pants, is that what it's called, only with the cookbook. We knew we wanted to do it with Dreamspinner Press. We initially wanted actually to follow one cookbook through 4 or 5 owners, but then none of us wanted to write historicals, so we went ahead and made 5 cookbooks.
I just remember LobbyCon and me going, Mary, come here.
LobbyCon, I love that. How everybody
got an email from Amber and asking me if it was a good idea and would I join in.
That's not what she said. That's not what she said. She said, RJ will do it. She does everything I tell her to do. That's what she said.
I think that is how it went.
It was.
So, who wants to tell me a little bit about the mysterious Granny Bee? Does anybody have any insight into who Granny Bee is, or is it supposed to be a giant mystery?
I suppose it's a giant mystery.
That's RJ's question to pick up.
RJ.
No, I didn't mean to jump in. Somebody else can take it.
No, it's your turn now. We're not getting out of it.
I can tell you how it was explained to me, that it was some big mystery and that we weren't really ever going to specifically sort of characterise her, but how the effect of what she started off all those years ago has kind of trickled down to sort of contemporary writing now. So that's how it was explained to me.
I love the beginning of the series seems to be a mystery. Like there's some sort of thing that just happened that brought everybody together. I'm beginning to figure out what the curious part of the Curious Cookbook is how it all came to be. So, okay.
Well, there's so many family heirlooms where you only get part of the story, where you're like, wow, that's a stuffed moose head with a party hat. Where the hell did that come from? And there's a story there, and you assume there was alcohol involved and perhaps the conception of a child, but other than that, it's all very vague. So I think that's kind of what we were all going for, was that, I mean, I know personally, my only grandma who put together a cookbook and wrote notes in the margins was not really nice. So I was like, I'm going to imagine a happy, lovely grandma. I think that would be awesome.
I love it. So let's talk for a little bit about the cookbook aspect and how you guys came up with your recipes. Each book features an individual recipe, and I'm curious as to how you guys came up with the ideas for your recipes. Did you search cookbooks yourselves? Were you guys online on Food Network, trying to, or searching Pinterest, as I tend to do, and finding something? Or I'd like to hear about how you came up with the recipe that you chose to go into your book, and if it had any little sort of secret meaning behind it. So, Amber, how about we start with you on that one?
Oh, well, I based mine on a cookie that I actually made for my husband. He loves oatmeal cookies, and so I got this recipe out of the Sunset magazine years and years ago, and I modified it over time, and it's like the one winter cookie I make for him, and he just loves it, and I modeled my cookie after that. So.
Oh, I love that.
Aww, that's a good story.
Mary, how about you? Where did you come up with your recipe, and what was your recipe?
Well, originally, I think we were thinking of putting recipes in it, and then, much to my horror, because I can't cook anything at all, and so I was like, we're really not going to put recipes in that, and Marie said, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, yay! I was very, very happy. But I thought, chocolate mousse looks so beautiful inside a cup, and so chocolate mousse is how I picked that.
Too funny. Amy, how about you?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm kind of famous for not cooking, but I'm also the person who does all the cooking in the house. So I had this like vegetable delivery thing going on, and they just throw random vegetables in a box and it shows up at your door. And I got this one vegetable delivery with 5 beets, giant, big as a baby's head beets, and I'm like, I don't even really cook. What am I supposed to do with 5 giant red beets? And so I made beet porridge, and which just was kind of what happens when you throw crap in a pot. And I put the actual recipe in my blog today because it was really good. And one of the things that Mary gives me crap about is that I have a cat on my cover. And yeah. I keep trying to explain.
The only one. So it looks like a recipe for cat. Come on, everybody.
Yes. I'm like, we're not.
We all have food. She has a cat. Come on.
Yes.
Okay, but I have to say, in Amy's defense, beets are not the most beautiful of vegetables before they are sliced. So
it looks like it should have eyeballs floating in it.
Okay.
It was just.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's in Amy Lane's book.
Different anthology.
So, Marie, how about you?
I don't really know. I remember that at the beginning I had this idea that one of the guys was going to make this food and put it in a Tupperware dish and stash it away in the other guy's suitcase for him to find later. And so I just needed something yummy that could be stashed in a Tupperware container. And so I came up with zucchini bread, I think is what I ended up using. But that never happens now in the story. There's no Tupperware container. It never gets stashed in a suitcase. So
I was going to say, I don't remember that.
No, it ended up being the moot point.
But it could have been stashed. That's the important part. It could have been.
It could have been.
So, And RJ, how about you?
I inherited a load of cookbooks from my gran, who was she was born in 1920, so she did all her cooking when we had really bad rationing in the UK back in the late 30s, early 40s, and some of the recipes are pretty gross. I'm going to have to dig them out and post them online. I mean, you use the entire rabbit, no joke, the rabbit you caught in the field behind the house, including the eyeballs, so not good. But one thing I do remember is there was a really nice apple cake in the recipe book. It was really simple because one thing that there was always in the UK was apples. We're kind of famous for it. And because I wanted to set the story in the UK, and as the only one, I needed some connection to America. So I used the whole idea of World War II and a GI bride and that kind of thing. And it just fit in with my grand's cookery books. So that's where I got my inspiration from.
That's awesome.
Since you brought up location, I'll keep with you to ask my next question.
Okay.
How was it figuring out where you were going to set each of your stories? One of the challenges that we actually had even trying to get this meeting set up today to record this, because we're all scattered over pretty much as many time zones as we can have. We've got RJ in the UK all the way to Amy and Amber on the West Coast. So a little bit of a challenge there. Did you guys have some fun coming up with your location? And RJ, I know you did set yours in the UK. Was there something significant about where in the UK you set your story?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the bits about the UK, I mean, my new book is set in a very similar area. I don't live very far from London, but I live on the very edge of what we would call the countryside, where you've got the old cottages and the winding roads, and we had a huge cut down of all our trains back in the 60s, and so there are a lot of abandoned station houses that used to be on main train lines into the city and are no longer there. The train lines are all grassed over, and we have these beautiful station houses which are absolutely stunning, and a lot of them have been made into pubs or post offices or local community centres, and I just wanted to kind of capture that kind of sort of quintessential English countryside feel in what essentially is a very soft summer rainy afternoon story, so that's how it fitted in.
And Amy, how about you? Was there some significance in the setting of your story? And where was your story set for those who haven't read it?
My story was set in, well, partly in Chico and partly in Folsom. California. I live in Northern California. Most of you know that my state is about ready to explode, like a dandelion, okay, because we are so dry. And for some reason, I was remembering when I was a kid growing up, Chico was like, it was the 7th plateau of hell. Okay, no, the 5th plateau of hell. Reading was the 7th. And I was writing in the summer, and it was hot and it was miserable, and I just kept flashing to Chico. And not only that, but I had to look up cemeteries, and there's kind of a picturesque one near me in Auburn, but I actually know people buried there, so I wanted some place that I didn't actually have any connection to, and so I'd been to Chico Cemetery for I don't know why. So anyway,
there you go.
Cemeteries and hotter than hell. There you go.
Marie, how about you? What was significant about the locations you chose?
I tried several locations. In my story, one of the characters is driving back and forth. He's basically living in 2 towns, living in one during the week and then another one on the weekends. And I tried several different towns, and then I did what I always do, and I came back to Colorado, and I set it in partly in Denver and partly in Laramie. And then once I picked Laramie, actually, it was kind of nice because the whole idea is that Daniel grew up in Laramie, and then he moved away during college, and that turned out to be right around Matthew Shepard time, and so that actually worked really well to kind of put that into his history as, you know, part of the reason that he left and distanced himself from Laramie that many years ago, but now he's going home.
There was some great history there, and I really did enjoy that aspect too. Amber, how about you? What was significant about your setting?
Nothing really. I used to be in New York City. I find it challenging.
All right, hey, that happens. That happens. Mary, how about you?
Well, we were all at RT, and I fell madly in love with New Orleans. I've been once more since, and it's just beautiful and so much history. So I picked New Orleans.
And we met a really pretty fireman, and I just kept thinking he was in that story. Oh, he was so pretty. She flirted so hard. Her husband took a picture of her sitting on his lap. It was
he was not on my lap, and I have the picture to prove it. Stop it.
he was pretty.
I compared the picture.
He was demonically pretty.
Fireman. So. Okay, so we're talking about, you know, the types of jobs and things that your characters have. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this series is that all of the characters were very unique. They all had their own sort of, obviously their own thing, but they also all had really unique professions. I mean, we had everything from a weatherman with Marie. We had a, oh gosh, I don't know exactly what you would call Robbie's job, RJ.
Kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, the jack of all trades. So it was kind of fun. Did you guys coordinate with each other on what your characters were going to be doing or that sort of thing, or did it just sort of all come together the way that it did? Who wants to go first? Who's going to be brave and go first with that one?
Oh, somebody else can.
We coordinated a lot.
No, I think it's just to make sure we didn't have the same occupation for everyone. I think that's all the coordination we did on that, really.
And the same names. We try to avoid the same names. So
everybody who lives in Folsom works at Intel. Everybody who lives in Folsom works at Intel. I had no choice. He had to work at Intel, and I tried not to make him a software engineer like my husband, and that was about it.
Well, every American that comes to England has to be a writer. It's a coming for inspiration, see?
Nice.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, why else would you go to the UK? But no, that would be bad. Everybody that I know who has traveled to the UK is a writer, but that, you know, my sample is skewed because most of the people that I know are writers. So, okay, so let's just talk about writing in general for a little bit, because I know a lot of our viewers have a lot of questions about the writing process and sort of how writers make the magic happen. So if you guys wanted, I don't want everybody to have to answer the same question on this, but how about if you tell us something that's interesting about your writing process? You know, are you a plotter or a pantser, or do your story ideas come to you in dreams, or, you know, any sort of interesting, quirky thing about your writing process? Anyway, I'll pick on Mary to go first on that one. So,
thank God for that.
Nice.
Everyone else, you're welcome. Mary, I'm sorry. Writing process.
I wish I had a writing process. It's all about naming everybody. Once I get the two main characters named, then I just go. That's the issue of being a pantser and not a plotter. Sadly there's no process at all. You know, where unfortunately.
The naming process is a very important part of what you do, how you get started.
Yeah, well, the naming thing, it has to be the one really awesome, cool name, and then the one really boring name, because I don't think that two people with fabulous names or two people with boring names can coexist in nature. It's just my deep belief that you have to have two, they have to be different. So once I do that, the naming, it's a labor of love, and once that's done, then I can just go.
All right. Amber, I'll pick on you next. How about you?
I'm a napper. I get a lot of my story ideas while I'm sleeping. I get toys while I'm thinking.
That must be fabulous.
No, it's funny because I take it out. I'm like, don't bother your mom. She's working. I'm telling you. That's what he tells our children. Don't bother her. She's working. I wake up and the plot's there and I write it out. That's how it works.
That is my favorite thing that I've ever heard, and I'm probably going to have to put that on Facebook or something just so you're. There will be a random tag coming later. Amber Kell.
I'm a napper. I'm a napper. There you go.
That's my technique. The lazy.
How about you? What sort of fun writing quirk do you have?
Which one?
Marie? Yeah.
Oh, Marie, go for it.
Oh, is it me? Okay.
Yeah, it's you. It's you.
Well, I write out of order. That's the big thing. I usually start in the middle, and then I work both directions at once. A lot of times the first scene I write is sort of the big climax turning point. Like with Promises, it was them kind of arguing in the hallway that turned into a blowjob, as arguments do.
As they do.
And in Strawberries, it was the big fight where John and Cole broke up, although that fight ended up being split into 2 separate fights later. But so I usually start in the middle. You know, I wish that sleeping worked for me, but like I go to sleep thinking about the problem, and then the story really shifts in my brain, and by the time I wake up, I'm like, oh, that's it, I just have to throw in a magic sword and some werewolves, and then I remember that there are no werewolves in my stories. Doesn't help me at all.
You would probably not be surprised to find out that that is exactly my process. It's, okay, I'm stuck. Let's add a werewolf.
A demon.
Yes.
Vampires. I mean,
yes, something supernatural to account for this.
Magic covers it all.
Makes so much sense. RJ, how about you? What's unique about your writing process?
I'm a complete pantser. I literally just sit, start writing, and it happens. And I found out, I revealed today that actually generally what happens is I get halfway through and realise I need to delete chapter 1 completely, because chapter 1 is where I kind of like made my rules, and then chapters 2 through to 10 are where I've broken all the rules that I set in chapter 1. So that's not good. And then the other one is cover art. Cover art. Like, I'm obsessed with it. You'll have noticed that from all my Facebook posts. Yeah. My walls are covered with my cover art, and cover art often comes way before I write a book, because I'm inspired by all the art around me. So, and it's nice to have some good-looking guys on my wall while I'm writing. I don't think anybody can disagree with that one.
No.
I completely approve of that, and I may start doing that myself, because I like that. So, okay, so let's see. Why don't we guys talk about maybe what's coming up next for you? I know you guys are all really prolific writers, so let's see what's going on with you next. Marie, let's start with you this time.
My next book up will be Shotgun, which is the next book in the Coda series.
Oh, yay!
Comes out May 29th.
Oh, yay! Okay.
And everyone is like, pre-order now, right?
Pre-order now. Where's the link?
It's not up the link. It should be soon.
I need the link.
I know. Buy link. We'll make sure.
It should be today. It should be. Yeah.
It will be today.
It should be. It's supposed to be a month before, so it should be up today.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah.
Yeah,
a glitch.
You do shoot for 30 days, but normally, it does vary a little bit. But yeah, it should be any day. Aww.
Yay!
Auto purchase, right? Yeah. So you're excited about that.
Hopefully everybody won't be disappointed, but it was fun to go back.
Oh, nobody will be disappointed. I can't wait.
And speaking of sequels that everyone is excited for, Mary, what are you working on?
Oh, the Last Change of Heart book will be out in June. Yes, June. So then we're done.
No more Jen and Logan, huh?
No more Jen and Logan. No, all done.
All right, Amber, what's up next for you?
Oh, well, my next Dreamspinner book actually coming out in September or October will be my first full-length novel.
Wow!
Yeah. And actually, I got all the way to 60,000 words.
Yay!
Okay,
I've read it, and it's pretty damn good.
But I have to nap a long time to get 60,000 words, so I have to wait sometimes.
That's my new favorite thing. A lot of naps involved. So, okay, let's see. And RJ, how about you? What's up next?
I'm sharing a book date with Marie. I've got The Summer House coming out on at the end of May, and that's a story set in the UK in the Cotswolds, where I had a week's holiday and did research. And my current WIPs are the 4th book in the Bodyguard series, Undercover Lovers, and Retrograde, which is a series that I'm writing with 5 other authors, similar to the cookbook idea, and it's all set around how tragedy affects people's lives. So I'm writing that. Amber's part of that as well. So yeah, busy.
It's exciting to be like hosting this chat with such prolific authors, because you get to the point where it's like you just glomp onto people, and I mean, could there be more fantastic writers in this group? I mean, I have to fangirl for a moment. You guys are just all so amazing, and it's exciting to hear what you guys are coming up with next. I really can't wait. So
Checks in the post, Poppy. Checks in the post.
not hard. So, okay, let's see. What do we got? I know one of the big things that a lot of authors are asked, and I'm sure you guys have gotten this question as well, is how do you deal with reviews? And this is one that both authors and readers are often very curious about as to our reactions to. So I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on reviews, how you handle your reviews. Do you read them? Do you not? And just kind of that process. I know a lot of people are really curious about that. Amber, why don't we start with you on reviews? I'm sorry in advance.
I don't read my reviews. I saw a quote once that I kind of live by. It's like, you're never as bad as your worst review, and you're never as good as your best review. So I'm too easily swayed. So it's like, if I read somebody hates it or someone loves it, I mean, they could be the same book. And so I don't read them at all. Sometimes I read them if like the reviewer emails it to me. But other than that, I completely ignore my reviews.
Good, good. RJ, how about you?
I read all the reviews that like the bloggers do and people who send me and link me on Facebook and Twitter and things like that. But one place I do avoid, and I'm pretty much guarantee most of you do as well, and that's the Goodreads reviews, because that's a place for readers, not for authors really. And I did, way back when I first started, I did rise to a review that was calling Texas, the Heart of Texas a soap opera, and all I wrote was, well, kind of that's the point. I think you've missed the point. And that, oh my God, I had people defending me, people slagging me off, and I nearly gave up writing. It was like, it was horrendous. So that was my lesson learned, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago now. So yeah, avoid Goodreads if you're at all sensitive, like I am.
I think we're all sensitive. I think that's part of the exciting part of being a writer, right? You have to be able to wear your heart on your sleeve, so they say.
Totally, totally.
Marie, how about you? How do you handle reviews?
Kind of the same. If somebody tweets one right at me or sends me a link, I might go read it. I'm always scared to read it, but I will read it if it's sent right to me, but otherwise that's it. I don't look for them. I avoid Goodreads and Amazon. I'm neurotic the way I avoid those places. Like, if I need a buy link, I email my assistant to go get me a buy link so that I don't even have to go onto Amazon. I'm that neurotic, so I really avoid them.
That is so funny. So funny. So, okay, Mary, how about you? How do you deal with reviews?
I'm really in the same camp as RJ and Marie. If I read the ones that the bloggers will send me, but I can't go looking them up anymore. It's much too. I used to years ago, but I'm not strong enough to do that. So I skip that.
There's a point where it just messes with your productivity, and it's counterproductive, I think, for most of us.
Yeah, if you get a bad review, especially when you're trying to finish a book or something, it can be very difficult. So the best thing to do is, I think, just avoid. Avoid
the reviews.
Yes.
Hey, how about you? How do you handle reviews?
With a lot of tears and rage. No.
Wine, lots of wine.
Wine, there you go. Wine is good.
Like a lot of people, I have learned to just not look when it gets really bad. But to some extent, if I can put it in perspective, so I get a bad review on something light and cute. Well, this is someone who usually likes my darker contemporary stuff. Mm-hmm. I get a bad review on the dark contemporary. This is someone who likes my my alternative universe. So I guess if I will try and put it in that perspective. And if they just don't like my stuff, they just don't like my stuff. That's okay. I do not like everybody's writing, and I'm pretty sure I don't think I ever want to be homogenous enough to appeal to absolutely everybody. That would kind of no, not what kind of writer I want to be.
I see what you mean. I mean, it's really not possible for every reader to like every book. I mean, it just doesn't happen. Like, My all-time favorite book in existence is someone else's least favorite book ever. So, you know, that's sort of the way it goes. Okay, so I have a fun question for you guys, and this is going to be a challenge for Mary in particular, but it is okay because I'm going to make Mary answer it anyway, so haha in advance. What is your favorite thing to cook? Since we're talking about a cookbook, what is your favorite thing to cook? So I'm going to pick on RJ first this time. What are you sort of known for? Anything? RJ's hubby have to handle all the cooking.
My hubby does all the cooking now, because, you know, I'm like a full-time writer. He does all the shopping and the cooking and the housework and looks after all the finances and supports Love Lane Books. And the last time I cooked, I quite like cooking stir-fries. That's probably my only answer. Oh, and I like chocolate, but I don't cook that, I just eat it. So.
Chocolate works for me. It works for me. Amy, how about you? What are you known for cooking besides apparently beet porridge, which I'm very intrigued about?
Okay, my favorite thing to cook is what my family calls SMDM, which is something Mama doesn't make. Other than something Mama doesn't make, the other thing I cook that I get mixed reviews depending on the day is food. Because I think I did a whole thing for ARE where I stand in front of the stove and I stand in front of the refrigerator and I start throwing crap into the pot, and 9 times out of 10 it's edible.
I think that there's a hidden talent there, because quite frankly that terrifies me. But if 9 times out of 10 is good, I'll go with it. I will go with it. So, Marie, how about you? What are you known for in the kitchen besides wine?
Making big messes. That's what I'm really good at. But probably the thing my husband requests the most is pulled pork sandwiches. He likes meat on a bun in any form, and that's not an innuendo.
Well, it is now. Amber, how about you? Besides your famous oatmeal cookies, is there something else you're known for in the kitchen? Lost RJ with that one. Okay.
Mostly baking. I like to bake more than I like to cook. I like to make, you know, cupcakes and cookies and that kind of stuff. Regular food doesn't really interest me. That's what style's for.
Yeah.
I'm just having a replacement cup of tea. It's been half an hour since my last one. It's important I have this. Carry on.
We don't want to pass out.
We're good. We'll wait on tea. We understand that it's a part of survival for RJ. So, Mary, how about you? As Mary has already shared with us, she is notorious. She is known for being not the most chef, shall we say?
Yes, that's what we'll say.
She imported somebody to teach her how to cook.
My dear friend Reese Ford came all the way from California to teach me how to cook. And I emailed her as soon as she got home and said, how do you do that again? So, I'm in the doghouse. So, basically, I could, you know, like I said, the safe thing to say is that my husband cooks. There, I can do an egg a little. My son usually says, it's not right. So, I really try to stay away from that, all forms.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah.
I emailed her with this like recipe that I made. I was so excited. It was what to do with the giant pork loin roast when you don't know what to do with giant pork loin roast. And she's like, that's terrifying. I could never make that. I'm like, it's pork loin roast in a pot for 24 hours. How do you F that up? And she's like, no.
No. All of my recipes from my friends start off with a picture of a stove. This is the stove. You need to walk there. So let's move on.
Yes, step 2 is don't turn the burner on high. Like that's the next
right.
thing, yeah,
That's right. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's fun. So, okay, so let's go back to your beginning days. I know you guys all told us sort of when you got started. If you could go back and give one piece of advice to that author you that were starting, you know, several years ago now, what do you think would be the #1 piece of advice that you would give yourself? So, well, Amy, I'm going to start with you on this one. What advice would you give yourself several years ago starting out?
Dear Amy, hire an editor, you effing moron. Let me. There you go.
I think that sums it up really nicely. Okay. Marie, how about you? What advice would you give Marie just starting out?
I probably would have told myself to just not do it. Just walk away now. Walk away while you're still sane and don't have as many wrinkles and as many gray hair. But
That breaks my heart. That really does. That actually does break my heart because you're so.
I'm sorry.
Well, but it's okay. We're glad that you weren't able to do that. I'm particularly glad that you were not able to give that advice. How about that? So,
Yeah.
RJ, how about you?
Oh my God.
Tell yourself?
Just write. Just keep writing and stop doubting myself. But even after 5 years, I still doubt myself. I'm sure we all do because that's kind of the nature of who we are. But and don't put all my eggs in one basket. Mentioning no names, but don't put all my eggs in one basket.
Understood. Message received. Amber, how about you?
I don't know, that's a hard question. Probably not to listen to other people. Like everyone says you can't be a full-time writer. Just don't listen to outside voices. Just do what you want anyways. That's probably what I would say.
That's fantastic. And Mary, what about you?
I would say to listen to your inner voice. Don't go out and read every review out there and get depressed or too happy or either one. Just keep at it and don't stop and don't let anybody tell you any different.
That is fantastic.
You guys are all so optimistic. Now I feel like a real downer.
More wine, Marie. More wine. You'll be okay.
Marie, what advice would you give yourself now after hearing everyone else's advice?
Oh.
Trying to give you a do-over here.
Oh. Yeah, just what they said.
I love it. I love it. So,
I'm just writing the high.
I know a lot of our viewers are really interested in the writing process, so I'm going to kind of go back to that for a second with you. But do you ever get writer's block? And if you do, what do you do to kind of push through that? So, Mary, I'm going to start with you this time.
Man, knew it. Well, I don't get so much writer's block as I beta read for amazing people. I beta read for Amy. I beta read for Jamie Sams. I beta read for Damon. I beta read for Reese Ford. So what happens to me sometimes is I read so many, and then I think, what the hell? Why am I doing this? Why am I writing? Everybody's a better writer than me. So the voices start, and so that sort of gets a little paralyzing. So when that happens, I pop in my Hawaii Five-0 DVDs, and away I go. A week last year, my husband would come home every day, and he'd say, "What did you do today?" And I'd say, "Well, Steve and Dano," and he'd say, "No, no more Steve and Dano. I want to know what you did." And so I had to get out of that, and so now I tend to try and be, a little easier on myself. Terry Michaels gave me a good piece of advice, and she said, instead of focusing on what in their writing is better than yours, focus on something that you like and that maybe you can learn to do. Take it as a teachable moment. So that was good.
Fantastic. RJ, how about you?
That was kind of profound, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to think of something profound now. Oh, God, what was the question again?
What do you do with writer's block? Writer's block, woman.
Look, it's really late in the UK. It's nearly 7:45 in the evening, and I'm normally in bed at 10.
I had forgotten. I was glad you asked because I'd forgotten the question too.
That's because
Killing me.
I'm going to write it down right now.
Mary's answer was
down.
that we all just sort of blinked out. It was okay.
Down. I'm so long-winded she can't even remember the sentence.
I do suffer from writer's block. But I have Meredith Russell on chat, and I have Amber to hassle, and I kind of I've realised it's my chapter ones that kind of stop me. I'll get to that point where nothing's making sense, and then the rules that I've set in my head aren't working. So I've got used to the idea of going back and just like deleting chapter 1 or reworking what chapter 1 sort of contains. And I mean, the slump I get is when I kind of I know how the story's going to end 2 chapters from the end. I know my ending, and I kind of maybe get not bored, but I know how it ends. Therefore, the book's finished. So I kind of have to push through that. But I just keep writing nonsense mostly. And eventually it makes sense.
Whatever works.
Enough. Okay.
Amber, how about you? How do you deal with writer's block?
Well, there's a reason I have over 90 works in progress. I go work on something else, and then I come back after I worked it out subconsciously.
While you're napping.
Or I take a nap. So, you know, 2 ways.
It works. It works.
It works.
I think for 1 week you need to like keep up with like the amount of time you spend sleeping, because I'm very curious as to the sort of that sleep production time that we have. I really would like to like model my naps around what you're doing.
Minimum 2-hour nap. For proper production, you need 2 hours of napping.
2 hours of napping. I'm writing that down. I'm going to be sure that I tell everyone I have to have a 2-hour nap daily for productivity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Work, so.
Any class isn't enough. Any more is too much. 2 hours is perfect.
Okay. Hey, obviously it works, so I think I'm going to have to give that one a go. Amy, how about you?
Well, when I get what I think of as writer's block, it's not because I don't know what to write. It's because it's like, which way should I do it better? Should I do it from this point of view? Should I approach this? And when I get to that part where I kind of brain lock myself into how to make it better, I write it ugly. I just freaking write it, and because you can go back and fix it, but you can't fix a blank page. And that is, so basically I don't really get writer's block because I just have a lot of ugly prose, I think.
Excuse me.
It's her alarm. She has to go get more tea.
The teapot is done. She's got to go. Marie, how about you? How do you deal with writer's block?
I would say the main form that my writer's block takes is when I get kind of caught in a cycle where I think I have to be working constantly. I feel like I either need to be writing or I need to be cleaning, and I hate cleaning. And so then I don't feel like writing, and then I think, well, I'll go online and do some promotion because that's work too, right? But then I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, and those places are actually very toxic for me. So what I've kind of had to learn is when I get into that point to just absolutely step away, to get very far away from the internet, and that it's actually okay to not be working, to just take some time to, you know, whatever, take my dog for a walk or take my daughter to the zoo or just sit on my back porch and drink some wine, and that's a lot better way to recharge than trying to force myself to work on Twitter.
Makes sense. Okay, so one more challenging question for you. This one you can do one of 2 ways. So I want to know about your favorite book. So you can either answer that with a favorite book in general, sort of your all-time favorite, or if you don't want to pick like an all-time favorite, what was the book of your own that has connected the most with you sort of in a deep level? So either way you can answer that, either with sort of an all-time favorite book written by someone else, or your favorite book of your own that meant the most to you. You can kind of go whatever direction you choose with that. So Amber, we'll start with you on that one.
Oh, hell.
Why do I keep throwing the difficult ones? I know. I'm going on Amber's list, right?
Oh, hell.
Let's see, my favorite book of all time. Well, I think, this is going to sound odd, but Robert Frost poetry. When I was younger, I used to like read his writing, and I always found it like very calming to me. It's like I would read it and I would envision like just in a few words how much you could fit in there. And I think maybe that's why I like writing so concisely, because I always think of how much you can get into with just a few amount of words. So that's
I love that. RJ, since I saw you sort of laughing at Amber for having to go first, you have to go second.
Oh,
I'm very mean. I'm like mean today.
oh, bloody hell. Okay. Not in our genre. I mean, things like Enid Blyton and you know, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader and Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, all that kind of stuff. That's what got me into reading, and that's what got me into writing. But in the genre, I have an obsession, an unhealthy obsession with Jordan L. Hawke's work. In particular, her Spectre series, which, oh dear, I just absolutely love it, and I recommend it to everybody. But then I also look at all of you there, apart from Amber, all of you there, and I love all your work. So, you know, Marie, you will remember at the UK Meet 3 years ago when she was featured author or featured speaker, I fangirled her so hard that I nearly knocked her off her chair, and she was absolutely mortified. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a big fangirl, so... and I do stalk Jordan and the sister.
And why? I mean, you can't really fangirl anybody better than Jordan Hawke. She's absolutely amazing. So.
And her husband is lovely, and we just had such a good time at GRL, drinking alcohol mostly. And yeah, it was a big fangirl moment for me. So yeah, I have huge heroes, and I love Ellie Easton, and I love Jane Northcote, and Marie is just up there, you know. So there you go, fangirl moment finished.
Amy, what about you?
One book.
All right, Mary, you make the call. Mine or someone else's?
Why don't you do someone else's? That's always good.
Okay, that helps. Either Taigana by Guy Gabriel Kay or Beauty by Robin McKinley. And I think with Taigana, because that's like the cast of thousands, and every role was so perfectly integrated into that idea of, you know, into the final fallout, and you mourned the because it was both, you know, it was everybody, protagonists, antagonists. You mourned the people who died, even though they were the bad guys, and you got angry at the people who won, even though they were the good guys. That holistic idea of there not being an ultimate good guy or an ultimate bad guy, that there were hurt and damaged people doing their best. That's like my best writing lesson ever.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Marie, how about you?
I don't have a good answer. I really love the Doctrine of Labyrinth series by Sarah Monette. Melusine and The Virtue are the first two books.
I've read those.
I really love those. But I'm also a big Harry Potter fan, and yeah, I don't know. I could name a lot of, you know, fantasy series from like the 80s, 90s, giving away my age. But
Oh, no, that's okay. So, Mary, how about you?
Probably the book that got me writing was The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Everybody's read that. It's probably what made me write, you know, was more interested in writing about boys. It's what made me more interested in writing first person. It made a lasting impression, clearly. So that's probably the book that probably prompted me. But the book I've read about 1 million times is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The magical realism. I always wanted to write like that. So when T.J. Klune wrote his book Into This River I Drown, I was all over that, and that's a great book. So yeah, and I'm a big fangirl as well. So as we know from me stalking Marie and Amber and everybody with books. Can you sign this? Can you sign this? Yes.
So, okay, so you know what, we're about out of time here, so I just wanted to kind of give you guys one more chance to kind of say, you know, just give a little few words to your fans, and you know, if you'd like to pass something along to anyone who's watching this, this will be a a moment to do that. So who can I pick on first? I will not pick on Amber first. Let's pick on Marie. Marie, any last parting messages for folks watching our video today?
I just say thank you. Thank you for reading. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Mary, how about you?
Am I supposed to say more?
That was perfect. You did perfect. You don't need a do-over this time.
No, same thing. We appreciate our fans so much, and we would be lost without you. So thank you.
RJ, how about you?
Just more of the same. Without the readers who buy our books, we wouldn't be able to create all these worlds that we create, and I wouldn't be doing what makes me happiest. So a big thank you to everybody that buys my books. Love you all.
That was very sweet. Amber, how about you?
Pretty much the same. I mean, thank you for everyone, and hopefully you'll enjoy what we had to say today as we blather on about things. So.
Absolutely. Amy, how about you?
We always love to hear from you. Just when people, when people approach us and go, oh, I don't, I'm so afraid to stalk. It's like, okay, it's not, as long as it's not like really, creepy stalking. By all means, come and introduce yourselves at a con, or tag us on Facebook, or just give us a wave. Because on those really horrible days when we end up on social media and we're tempted to troll Goodreads for all our 1-star reviews. No, I've never done that. I lie. To have somebody just out of the blue say, "Hey, you wrote this book and it saved my life." We can go, "Oh yeah, I do what I do and it's awesome." So
fantastic. Okay, so for everyone who has made it all the way to the end with us, we want to send you a great big thank you. We are going to be giving away a paperback copy of Tales of the Curious Cookbook, which has all of the stories in the anthology in one paperback book. Comment below under the YouTube video, and you can be entered to win the paperback. Thanks again to everyone for watching, especially to RJ, Amy, and Amber, who stayed with us today, and the dog didn't start barking until the very end, so that was even better. We love our fur babies. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next month with another edition of Dreamweavers.